Hello, hey, good morning. Thank you for joining us at our latest SilviaFindings live stream. I thought I would do something different and actually start exactly on time today. I know it's rare. We're normally a couple of minutes ahead. So fully expect, if anybody's going to join us, it'll be, soon, slowly over the next couple of minutes. There's one, Vicky Osawiki. Good to see you again. Why are you interested in watching this? It's so random. So, not what you do. But happy to see you anyway, no matter what. Either way. Um, Actually, I was speaking to my Vicky. Just after last week when when you joined us on the stream. Uh, Anyway, where was I? Now you threw me. Thank you very much for that. But here we are, another Wednesday morning live stream from the SilviaFindings showroom in beautiful Richmond, British Columbia, which is still unseasonably hot. I don't know, fam. We're in trouble, I think. I'm not going to be a doom and gloomer because nobody wants that here in your jewelry live stream. Everybody wants to be happy. Yay, it's all awesome and everything while the planet's burning around us. But moving right along. This week, I want to actually, before I go on to what we're doing again, because we're just going to be continuing earwires and stuff like that. And a few other things. I just want to talk about a little bit about some housekeeping things, of course. All the regular stuff. If you share the video, we'll send you one of those free polishing cloths, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. If you've ever watched the first, 3 or 4 minutes of any live stream, which I think we're up to 58 or 59, something like that. I never remember. I never look. I never pay attention. And I'll tell you the honest truth, I have never gone back and watched one of these after the fact. So I'm just I'm just pulling it off the top of my head most of the time. So, as is my want. Shipping is still awesome, really good. I don't know. We don't have any complaints about anything really. There are some weird new rules shipping into the European Union. So if you're an EU country, you're watching from an EU country right now, if you're placing an order with us anywhere, if it's on our website, I think on our website we ask for our phone numbers, but I know that on Etsy they do not. But if you're ordering from there, please, and you don't want your order to be delayed, let us know. I'm going to hi, I want to wave. I'm going to totally screw up your name. Venkatesan. Venkatesan. Anyway, namaste. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning live stream. What was I saying? Oh, EU. We need your phone number, basically. Your phone number has to be somewhere on the package in order for it to get through customs. And now, as of July 1st, every package, it used to be that if the package was under, I forget what it was, 25 euros or something like that. 20, I forget, whatever it was. It would just go right through. You wouldn't have to pay any duties or taxes or anything like that. But now, everything, but I mean everything, even if it's like €1 or, 0.50, I don't, do they have cents? What are the cents in euros? What is the cent analog, the equivalent for a fraction of a euro? Do they have a name for that? What a rube, I don't even know. Oh boy, my privilege is showing. Yes, I don't know. Whatever it is. Anyway, my point is, no matter how inexpensive the piece is, if it's product, you're going to pay taxes on it. You're going to pay duties and taxes on it. So they need your phone number because they need to be able to get a hold of you to get your money before you can get your packages. I just recently, yesterday, in fact, recently. Oh no, it was Monday. So it was just, on Monday I got back 2 packages that we had shipped, one to Germany and one to France. And you know, we never get returns, you know, because people get their product that, oh, that's not true. I have had things break, you know, if we pack them wrong or something. It's rare, just so you know, it's rare. No, very rarely happens. But they're like 6 months ago I shipped these, and they only just came back now, because of something weird, like, just like, I don't know, the order of the address was incorrect, you know, and you know, different countries have different formats for how their addresses go, and you would expect that, you know, a postal service getting stuff from other places in the world would, you know, expect those kind of weirdness things to happen. Now, the addresses that we used are the ones that are all supplied by us, by the customers, by Etsy, by and I'm not sure if most of them are done or are, anyway, whatever, verified by a software package somewhere. So let's get those things eradicated. Not postal services. Postal services are great. Just errors in the shipping and stuff. So phone numbers are very important. I always stay cool, even when I'm baking hot. Nice to see you though, Vicky. Yay! And it's been baking hot here in British Columbia, beautiful west coast of Canada. I miss the rain. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I didn't move to the Pacific Northwest for the sun. I'm just saying. Where's my overcast? Where's my drizzle? I want to be wearing a coat in you know, July. Maybe that's a little extreme, but you know what I mean. Yeah, God, this heat, I hate it. If I want this kind of weather, you know, I'll move to Mexico or something, you know. Anyway, Sylvie Mac wants to be in our video. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I never let random strangers just come on the stream. So yeah, if we hadn't, if you have something you want me to share on a thing, you know, get a hold of me. We'll get in touch and we'll work it out, and I'll bring you on another time. But just randomly off the top of on Facebook, what? A Facebook random stranger wants to come on the stream live. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Totally safe. What could go wrong? Today we're going to continue on with, and I hope you accept that ribbing in the gentle ribbing in the spirit with which it was delivered, right? But you can see how that would be weird. Anyway, we're going to continue on with ear wires. Last week we did tons of because we have tons of ear wires, great crazy shapes, crazy things. We're going to continue along with that with earring related items. I tried to keep everything sort of similar together, so it may go a little quicker than normal because you know, but I've got more trays than I normally do, but only because there'll be like one thing will come in like you know, size 4mm, 5mm, 6mm, 7mm, 8mm, and it, you know, there's only so much I can you know, blab on about any one particular thing. But before we get to the more traditional, you know, items, we're just gonna finish up one of the trays that I was doing last week, which is, you know, some funky ear wires. Well, you'll see what I mean when we get there. Let me just turn this camera around and blink. There's a picture of a fan. Awesome. So our first item today, EW069, and I'm going to give you 2 prices for everything. One is the R is the retail price, W is the wholesale price. $8.29, right, is the retail price, and $5.86 on this is the wholesale price. Anything that comes by the pair, obviously this price is by the pair. And the only criteria to get the wholesale price is you need to spend $150. That's at the wholesale level, right? So yeah, EW069 is a lovely kind of stylized heart. It's just, you know, ear wire with a stylized heart dangle and a loop, which I don't know, or a heart within a heart. You're the hole in my heart. You left a piece of my heart behind. I don't know. So many cheesy lines you could come up with, you know, for that kind of thing. So that's first item here. Then I've got a couple of ear wires that I know that I showed some of these last week, but EW611 with a retail price of $737 and a wholesale price of $491. These are locked. So these are just a lovely, you know, standard ear wire, right? Regular old French hook with a lovely little pattern soldered to that. I don't know what that is. I don't want to take up time. It's cool though. Cool, interesting, very kind of I don't know, Victorian looking. Here's one that's a little more relatable. EW624 with a retail price of $12.64 a pair and a wholesale price of $8.42. This we sell a ton of these, and I mean, you can see why, right? It's just a regular, you know, standard old earring, right? Ear wire with a gorgeous flower cast in there, antiqued, the loop down at the bottom. You know, I mean, like, how can you go wrong with that? Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe if you dangled a spider charm or something for that would be a little incongruous, but I don't know, even that might be cool. I don't judge. EW778 with a retail price of $584 and a wholesale price of $389 a pair. And these are a little more delicate. These are also super popular. It's a little, just saying again, another standard ear wire with a little kind of, you know, the Bali inspired, that kind of granulation. Golly, you see beads like this all the time, right? Beads with those dots. Right. It's kind of a cute little daisy flower, just out of little sterling dots. Very cool for your designs. This one is a little more involved. EW620 with a retail price of $28.08 and a wholesale price of $18.72 a pair. And these, I love these marcasite, right? So that's what would present out the front, is that lovely drop with the marcasites in there. It's just a regular, you know, kind of a smaller ear wire. Although the nice thing about this, having this be seemingly shorter, is that this part, this drop, will, you know, will sit higher up on your earring, or higher up in your ear. I guess it depends on how far away from the edge of your earlobe your ear hole is. But anyway, and you know, set with marcasites, can't go wrong. A little drop. And I think this is our last ear wire type thing. EW015 with a retail price of $663 and a wholesale price of $415. And this, again, pretty tall ear wire, right? With a lovely, I don't know, kind of cone effect going on down at the bottom, right? I don't know. Kind of simple, kind of elegant, kind of lovely. Now we're going to move on to EW721 with a retail price of $16.64 and a wholesale price of $10.40 a pair. Now these kind of you know, pretty common. You know, everybody's seen these around. These are, you know, screw backs, right? The lovely thing about these screw backs is that these have a hinged, lever on them, right? Tension lever. So you can get this on once you get the tension good. You can just open and close it like that and not mess with this every time you need to, pull them on and take them off, like you do with just about all the other ones that we have. And this one has kind of a little cup, not really a cup. I guess it is kind of like a little scooped cup for gluing or soldering or whatever you want to put on there. Very traditional, although a little bit of a new version of it. These ones are way more traditional. These are more what you expect to see when you think of those screw backs or screw-ons. I'm gonna try not to get blocked here. EW 722 with a retail price of $17.06 and a wholesale price of $10.66. Was a very good year. Battle of Hastings. Right? Wasn't that 1066? No? Nobody knows their history here? Come on! Magna Carta, all that stuff. So you got this lovely... I know, you come to the jewelry stream, not for the history, but for the actual jewelry, Mark. Okay. So this, whatever, regular old screw back. These are the kind, and this has that nice, big, wide... smooth pad, because this, I mean, let's face it, it's like like a miniature torture device, right? You need you need to squeeze that until it doesn't come off your ear, which, what price beauty, I guess. And a nice big pad to solder something on there. These, I've never understood why people love these things. I don't know that people love them. I guess, I don't know. You get used to it. And, here's, not that one. Here's this one. Here's a little bit bigger version of that. EW 713 with a retail price of $13.10 and a wholesale price of $8.19. So this is basically the same thing. It's just the pad is bigger, and so is the screw hold, and it's just a little tiny I don't know, flattened drop, right? That's the other end of this. This one, I just noticed the screw on this has way more revolutions, so each turn is a little less incremental, which might be better when you're screwing it into your thing. If you don't want to go too far and pinch yourself way more than you need. But these, of course, you need to use this with a good two-part epoxy to glue this onto something, or solder something on there. But it's not really the kind of thing that you can just attach something to. Unlike these, which are basically the same idea, only these also have a loop down at the bottom. EW 712 with a retail price of $13.52 and a wholesale price of $8.45 a pair. That's about right. Here we are, 20 minutes in, and the audience dwindles as people realize that there aren't going to be explosions or tricks or anything like that. So we've got this lovely screw-on thing, again with that tapered pad, little teardrop pad that you can glue or solder something to. But this also has a loop that you can dangle something from, which is, I don't know, super versatile if you want to have something dangling from it. Also, as well as just soldered to the front or glued to the front. Now these, I've got a couple of these. EW 723 with a retail price of $12.90 and a wholesale price of $8.06. These are a kind of a lever back, not really a lever back. Yeah, that's a lever back. Right, with that comfort pad on the front and on the back, so your earlobe gets pinched between these two things. And this has a cup and peg for, and this cup and peg is about 4 millimeters long. I don't know if you happen to notice that in the description there. It says pearl 4 millimeter. Now this pad is 4 millimeters wide, but boy, you could get like a 6 millimeter or an 8 millimeter pearl in there easily, right? Which is quite nice. I quite like that. It's stuck. Have another EW720 with a retail price of $13.52 and a wholesale price of $8.45 a pair. This is another pearl lever back, I guess. It's got that hinge that opens up, right? This is kind of an ingenious thing too. It's really only 2 parts. Right, there's not a third part for a spring or something that could get damaged. It's all here, you know. In here, this is thing. So, not in this one because, but there's one coming up that I'll talk about. Something about this, about how you should treat this. But this has just got this great big 7 millimeter cup and peg that you would glue a sphere onto, and even though the cup is only 7 millimeters wide, I bet you can get a good 10 or 12 millimeter pearl glued to that. I think that would be awesome. And here's just a little bit bigger version of that one. EW719 with a retail price of $15.08 a pair and a wholesale price of $9.43 a pair. This is for 8 millimeter pearl, and this again same thing. It's just that lever back. Clip on. It's really not really a lever back. It's more of a clip on thing. I've been calling these lever backs. With that nice big cup, right? That's an 8 millimeter cup, but you could put easily a 12 or 14 millimeter pearl glued to that. You know, it doesn't have to be. You could put an 8 millimeter pearl in that, and it would be just fine. But just saying. Here we have another clip-on EW718 with a retail price of $23.40 a pair and a wholesale price of $14.63 a pair. And this has a giant 12 millimeter, but it's just a flat pad, right? So here's your clip-on, right? And this is just a flat pad that you would glue something on here, or you can solder this to something. Now, if you're going to solder this is what we're going to talk about before. This part of the clip-on, the part that goes against the ear, right? The way this works, the way the tension is put on here is that this piece has a little tab, right, that gets pulled over the edge of that the pad, and then when you pull this down, that stretches that open, and that creates tension on there. And when you push this closed, this creates more tension in the other direction. So you need this piece of metal, right? This one, this part, the part that goes against your ear. You need this piece to stay stiff, to stay hard. If you solder this all together and you keep all of this connected, I mean, no matter how good you are, this is going to get hot enough to begin to recrystallize. And I'm not going to explain it all here, but I am going to do a video that explains soldering and temper and how that works and why it works, and a little material dynamics here. But if you let this get hot enough when you solder something to this, which is going to happen just by virtue of, connecting, and you have to get this piece hot enough for the solder to melt and flow against it, which if you're using a regular silver solder is like, 1350, 1360 degrees Fahrenheit, of course. Sorry to all your metric guys. I don't even know what that is anymore. 680, 690, something like that. I forget. I'm totally wrong. I know I'm totally wrong. Or maybe I'm not. Whatever it is. It's hot. Anyway, this will become soft, dead soft, which is how you make sterling silver dead soft. So if you do that and you keep this connected, this is not going to be as effective a pinch. It's got to stay stiff there. So this is connected to here just by these two little things. You just pull these down. I'm not going to do it here, but you just pull those in, and then these little posts, you know, can pop out of that, and then you can just remove this, solder your piece to that, and then put that back in, and it'll be just as tense in the good way, not tense like, oh my god, I'm gonna fall apart, as it was when you started. That's a little too long of an explanation for something that probably nobody's going to ever use, but it's good to know. EW702 with a retail price of $12.32 and a wholesale price of $9.48. And these, I don't know why these are in here, but these are totally incongruous with the earrings thing, except that they're kind of like cute little chandelier parts, little connectors, you know, 3-to-1, although you can also technically use these for a multi-strand. You know, if you have a multi-strand necklace, you know, you can have the clasp deal coming in this way, right? And then you can have the necklace, a multi-strand necklace coming out here, or bracelet, you know, whatever. This is kind of long for a bracelet. Or ideally, or maybe not ideally, because who's to say what's ideal for these, but ostensibly these are designed for earrings, right? To do earring chandeliers, you know, chandelier earring parts. So they're very cool. It's EW702, and I don't know what they're called, earring. Maybe we're really pushing the earring use of these. EW702, $12.32 is the whole retail price. $9.48 is the wholesale price. I think I said that. Too bad, I'm saying it again. Here's another one. EW700 with a retail price of $11.73 and a wholesale price of $9.02. And again, same idea. It's just a little cute little earring part. I think you can use this in pretty much any orientation. This way or that way also looks cool. I don't know. Which way would you say is up or down? Let us know in the comments below. I'm just kidding. Don't, because I'm not going to read it. I mean, you can, but, you know, if I'm being honest, I'm not going to read them. So let me just say, we're just going to move on. We're going to do a bunch of earring settings, earring posts. They're not all settings, but they're all earring posts. These are all called earring posts because they're just a post, you know, kind of obvious. The first ones are these. Let me just get a bigger one out, just so that you can see. Everybody's seen these, right? These are what they call snap-in settings, snap-ons. ES288 with a retail price of $1.30 a pair and a wholesale price of 82 cents a pair. These are for 2.5 millimeter round stones, right? These just have that snap-on setting, and you can do this a couple ways to get them in there. You can hold on to the setting like this. You could put your stone say on, you know, the table upside down and push this on until the tips of these go past the girdle, and then they'll snap closed, right? They'll get stretched open and snap closed. And when they get snap closed, I don't know, some people will tell you that that's it, you don't need to do anything else, but you know, better to tweak them all closed after the girdle. But they are super simple to set stones in there, but I don't think it's just a function of I mean, the name snap-in just kind of suggests that that's all you have to do. You just need to snap them in. But once you snap them in, you do need to tweak these prongs in a little bit, and I would even go so far as to push the tips of those down onto the crown of your stone a little. And this comes in that 2.5 millimeter that we just talked about, and it also comes in a 3mm version, ES173, with a retail price of $1.51, a wholesale price of $1 a pair. And this also comes in the 4mm version, ES174, with a retail price of $2.08 and a wholesale price of $1.39. And I think the biggest of this version we have is this one, 6mm, oh, 5mm. ES293 with a retail price of $3.85 and a wholesale price of $2.41. Now I'm going to say something a little blasphemous. I bet dollars to donuts, it's a real expression, look it up, that you could put a 6mm stone in there. You know, I mean, look how big that angle is there that goes over the girdle. I bet you can pull this out to put a 6mm stone in there. And I would never say that for like a traditional basket setting. But these, boy, those tabs you could pull quite a ways out. We have another version of this that's kind of a little more, I don't know, a little more Tiffany inspired, you know, that kind of Tiffany sort of setting. They are ostensibly snap-ins, although I wouldn't just snap in those, because you definitely need to push the tops of those prongs down over onto the girdle once you've got the stone in there. But ES290 is the 6mm version of that, $2.42 a pair, and the wholesale price is $1.61 a pair. And I showed you the bigger one first this time. Anyway, so here's the same idea, same one. This is just a 5mm version of that, right? Lovely 4-prong setting, ES289 with a retail price of $2.25 and a wholesale price of $1.51 a pair. You know, and these are great if you just have little you know, pairs of stones lying around. You want to make a pair of earrings. These are the, you know, little studs. These are the quickest way to do it. You'll just have a cute little stone right where your ear hole is, and that's it. You might see the tops of the prongs along the girdle, but nobody looks at that stuff, right? Now we're moving on to the ball studs. D01401 with a retail price of $2.43 and a wholesale price of $1.95. And these are called ball studs because, you know, it's a ball on the end of the post. It's not rocket science, it's jewelry. And this has just an open loop down on the bottom of that you can use to dangle whatever you want to that. So super traditional. I love it. We've got this 3mm version. We've also got a 4mm version, D01402, with a retail price of $3.81 a pair and a wholesale price of $2.38 a pair. And again, still that same 4mm, and this is you know, solid. They're not hollow, right? So they're solid sterling silver balls. I'm gonna try not to make a crack. D01403 with a retail price of $4.30 and a wholesale price of $3.35. And this one is for a 5mm ball, right? Again, with the open loop that you can dangle anything you want from. And this is the biggest one we have of this. Gear studs. Yeah. ES191. That's a typo, but it's a cool one, right? We can just call these gear studs. ES191 with a retail price of $3.93 and a wholesale price of $3.03. And this is, again, 6mm ball with the open loop. This has a little bit of a, it looks like a little pad on there, but this is all one piece. It's not like it's a pad that's soldered to the, oh, it might be, now that I'm thinking of it. And anyway, here's another little bit different one. This is kind of like a flat oval. Oh, let me do the price first. ES102 with a retail price of $13.83 a pair and a wholesale price of $8.65 a pair. This is right. So it's two little, well, I don't know, hemispheres kind of kept soldered together. So it's kind of like a flattened oval or a flattened round, right? But if you look at it sideways, it's more saucer shaped. Nice big round. Yeah, so that's 16 millimeters wide, the width of those dots. So those are pretty big. And here we have a little bit different take on that. ES03 with a retail price of $601 a pair and a wholesale price of $338 a pair. Now these are, it's a ball stud, but it has a length of chain attached to it, right? So that's just a 4 millimeter ball stud with a length of chain, like a 1 inch of chain, or about 24 millimeters of chain. Oh, is that what it said down on the back? No, I'm just thinking of it. 29 millimeters, so that's almost 1.25 inches of that dangling off that. And segueing from that nicely is this ES04 with a retail price of $662 and a wholesale price of $413. This is not a ball stud, but it's one of those earring posts with a chain soldered to it and a loop hanging from the bottom of that. What is that? 54 millimeters of chain, so that's like 2 inches of chain. I've seen this done a couple of ways. I've seen this where this just hangs in there. You put a little back on there and that, hangs there. Or you can pull this all the way through the ear so that some of this hangs out both sides, the front and the back of the earlobe, so however you want to do it. I can't see it from my house, as they say. It's up to you. Now, backing up from this a bit, these, earring posts, these soldering posts, we've got these in a couple of different sizes, and these are just, I don't know, maybe I'm not going to pull them out, but we have them in a couple of different gauges and a couple of different lengths. These are, pre-fashioned with the little notch in there. The notch is the part that goes through, on one side is domed also. The side with the notch is domed, is a little bit rounded on the end. That's the side that goes through your ear, right? So you want to make sure that you solder the other end to whatever you're soldering it to. Right. And the best way to get these on, whatever you're soldering them to, is to dip the solder end, the flat end, the side that doesn't have the notch and the domed end. Put some flux on there, put a little dot of flux on wherever you want to solder it to, put a little chip of solder on where you want to solder it to, heat the piece until the solder melts. Usually when that happens, it'll happen in 2 stages. First, the solder will melt and turn into a little sphere. That's not, even though the solder is liquid, you don't want to put the post in there yet. You need to wait until the piece reaches the temperature that the solder will melt and flow into it, so it'll spread out into a little puddle. Then you'll stick that in there. Look very closely, right? So you're holding on to that. You put the post in there as best you can, and in a second or so, once you keep the heat on there, you'll see the solder kind of flow up the side of the post. Then you can move the flame away, but you got to keep holding on to that for a second, and then once that cools, you can let go, and that's how you solder that. If you do it pretty much any other way, you might get the posts to stick on there because they'll be, because the solder will melt and flow and stick against it, but you have to reach the temperature of recrystallization. I'm going to get a little too scientific here, so never mind. Keep an eye on my video for soldering coming soon. So this one, LC00504, is an 18 gauge post, 11 millimeters long, 49 cents a pair, and 42 cents is the wholesale price a pair. We've got LC00201, which is, and I don't know, I'm not going to show you them all because it's just a little of metal, right? It's just a little, a little length of tube, or not tube, a little length of, a little length of wire, I guess, that has a notch cut into one end and domed, and that part goes through your ear, the other side gets soldered. Anyway, LC00201. This is for a 21 gauge wire, an 11 millimeter long post. 30 cents a pair, 25 cents is the wholesale price a pair. LC00101. 21 gauge, which I think is kind of the most traditional thickness for earring posts, ear wires, that kind of thing. We make some bigger, we make some smaller, but 21 gauge is kind of the most traditional, the most common. Anyway, 10 millimeter long post, LC00101. How binary. Retail price 25 cents a pair, and wholesale price 21 cents a pair. Nobody got that. No mathematicians in the audience either, eh? So we've got a history, we've got math so far, we've got material science, we got everything going except jewelry. On top of jewelry, how could you go wrong? 20 gauge is this one, 11 millimeters long, LC00306, with a retail price of 48 cents and a wholesale price of 36 cents a pair. And the last one, LC00401, 19 gauge, 11 millimeters long, 59 cents a pair is the retail price, 36 cents a pair is the wholesale price. So we've got 19, 20, 21 gauge, 18 gauge. So everything 21, 20, 18, and 19 gauge posts in a couple different lengths. Now, here's a couple of other things that, I'm not sure why these are in with the earrings, but LW17 with a retail price of 56 cents a pair and a wholesale price of 51 cents a pair. And these are, I guess, little dangles. And you can dangle from your earrings. Although, golly, I would love to see somebody use these in like a watch or a clock. Just replace your clock with these lovely twisty heads. And it's like you can never be too sure what time it is. And we have two sizes of these. I showed you the big one first. That one is 18 millimeters long. This one's only 15 millimeters long. LW15 with a retail price of 46 cents a pair and a wholesale price of 40 cents a pair. And let me just pull this out and show you that, right? So it's just a cute little flat, twisty little dangle thing. And as if that wasn't incongruous enough, I have another one that I'm sure should be in a different tray, but it's in this one. EW079 with a retail price of $6.45 and a wholesale price of $4.03. And this is just a post, right, with a lovely, I don't know, kind of swoopy thing deal. That becomes a loop that you dangle off the bottom, right? So this just sticks in your ear. That's what gets presented out the front, and a little dangle to dangle your things from. How can you say no to this? And then we have two other things almost done with this tray. ES013 with a retail price of $2.20 and a wholesale price of $1.50. And these are flat posts with I'm going to pull this out. This is going to be bent because we have to put it in the display thing. They've just got this flat post in this crazy shape. Now I think the best use of these is I guess if you're a lapidary, you can cut a stone cab into that exact shape. But I think that if you put this in a piece of foam or something so that the front of this is perfectly level, and you know what I'm going to say, you could pour epoxy resin in there, or put paste a little picture of something cute down on the bottom, and then use clear epoxy resin. The nice thing about most two-part epoxy resins is you can, you know, they're obviously their surface tension is much higher than something really thin like water. So you can overfill these a little bit, and you end up with like a little dome, a little bubble on the top of that. Not a bubble, because bubbles are bad with your resin, but you get like a little dome on the top, and it acts as kind of a magnifier of the light going through it, so you can get some very cool effects. Or you can just do some crazy things with you know, colors, or what everybody's doing these days with like cremation ashes, or you can mix up some epoxy with breast milk, and not even whatever. We sell a ton of this kind of jewelry to people who do that kind of stuff. So so we have this you know, star, I guess, square-ish shape, and this cute little heart. Same idea. ES100 with a retail price of $270 and a wholesale price of $1.69, and that's that heart thing, right? Now we've got some earring pads, right? Just these little flat studs that are used for soldering. ES09 with a retail price of 94 cents and a wholesale price of 59 cents. And right, so this is just a regular old flat, you know, pad that you can take this and glue this or solder this onto whatever, and that's it. That's all you need. And we've got this in, again, 3mm and 4mm. ES010 with a retail price of $1.27 a pair and a wholesale price of 81 cents a pair. And then we've also got a 5mm version of that, right? Just the same idea, just a little bit bigger pad. Maybe I could pull this out and show this to you. That way you can see what, right, the best version of what it looks like, right? Just a flat pad with that post soldered to it. And that just gets soldered to whatever. ES011 with a retail price of $1.31 a pair and a wholesale price of 82 cents a pair. And then we have a couple of variations on that same kind of thing. We've got these cup posts. You know what? Let me get out the biggest one of this. I think that's this one, right? So these are kind of like I don't know. Champagne glasses are more brown, but you know what I mean, right? That kind of, I don't know. It's like a cone, a sharp cone with a nice 45-degree angle that you can glue cut stone in there, faceted stone, or something like that, right? So we've got this in 2 sizes, or no, 3 sizes. ES201 with a retail price of $2.63 a pair and a wholesale price of $1.57 a pair. And then we've got the 5mm version, ES203 with a retail price of $3.06 a pair and a wholesale price of $1.83. And totally out of order, we've got this 4mm version of that, ES202 with a retail price of $2.82 a pair and a wholesale price of $1.69 a pair. Then we have I have another version. The biggest one, 6mm version of that, ES204, with a retail price of $3.30 a pair and a wholesale price of $1.98. Again, 6mm, nice big rectangular kind of cup looking thing. Then we have, and I'll show you the biggest one first, just so you can see what I mean by what it is. It's a kind of a round, I'm going to pop this open. It's a round cup ear wire, or earring post, right? So it's like a hemisphere cup that you can glue. Ideally, you want to glue the size sphere or pearl or post or thing into there, because you want it to go all the way down to the bottom, and you want as much surface area touching the bead or the pearl or whatever you're gluing to there as possible. This is So the smallest version of this is 3 millimeters, ES 197 with a retail price of $1.57 a pair and a wholesale price of 95 cents a pair. And then we've got a 4 millimeter version of that, ES 198 with a retail price of $1.87 and the wholesale price of $1.12. The 5 millimeter version, ES 199 with a wholesale price of $2.22 and the retail price of $2.22 and a wholesale price of $1.33. Right, the same. And that big 6 millimeter pair that I showed you before, right, semicircle, ES 200 with a retail price of $2.67 and a wholesale price of $1.60 a pair. Now there's another kind of abridged version of those. Let me get out the biggest one. Is that it? Maybe this. I think. Yeah, 6 millimeter. It's kind of like, it's a curved cup, but it's not like a complete hemisphere the way those, the previous ones are. These are just kind of domed things. So you can obviously put glue a pearl that's much bigger than these pads are, right? Oh, sorry, let me go back and start with the smallest one. The 4 millimeter version that we have, I think, is the smallest one. I don't see a 3 millimeter here. $1.94 is a pair for the retail price. The wholesale price is $1.55 a pair. Again, for that lovely half circle, not really half circle, but little domed cup. 5 millimeter ES 165B, which makes me nervous. 6 millimeter version ES 161, $2.31 a pair is the retail price, and $1.39 is the wholesale price. We have this one, ES 07, $4.37 a pair, and the wholesale price is $2.73 a pair. This is 6 millimeter one, and this has, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little loop down in the bottom of that, but that's soldered onto the piece in the back. I think this is maybe the post go, I'm not sure why they have that on there, but it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't pull out. You can't really dangle anything from it. Let's see on the bigger one. Right? ES07G, which just means this one is rhodium plated, versus ES07 with a retail price of $4.37 a pair and a wholesale price of $2.73 a pair, and the rhodium plated one is ES07G, $4.59 a pair, and $2.91 a pair is the retail price. And then the last, or I should say maybe the one of the last versions of these posts we have are, these is just a post with a flat pad. Or is that flatter? Oh no, it's slightly domed. Flattish, kind of domed pad with a post, a cup and peg that you would glue a pearl or something onto there. Just gives you a little more surface area to glue a little pearl on there. So if you need little pearl posts, I guess, these are what you need. D01201 with a retail price of $1.04 a pair and a wholesale price of $0.74 a pair. And we've got a little bit bigger version of this, D01202 with a retail price of $1.24 a pair and a wholesale price of 88 cents a pair. Then the next biggest domed one we have is the 5 millimeter version, D01203 with a retail price of $1.29 and a wholesale price of 94 cents a pair. And right, so it's just a little curved again. Well, let me just, I'll show you the biggest one, and give you a little explanation how they work. ES 128 with a retail price of $3.19 a pair and a wholesale price of $1.91 a pair. This is again 8mm pad. It's kind of a domed pad, right, with a cup and peg that you would glue your pearl on there. It's not a hemisphere, so you can get away with a little bit bigger version of a thing. You don't need to put an 8mm stone in there. You could probably put a 10, maybe a 12. Probably a 10 would be best, would be biggest. So anything from 8 to maybe 10 or 11 you could put in there, and that just gets glued right to your, actually, now that I'm looking at the curve, you can get bigger than that. I would say confidently you can get up to probably a 12mm pearl glued beautifully to that. And then this is absolutely the last, or I should say the penultimate kind of thing that we have. It's just a post, and instead of a curved pad, it's a flat pad with a cup and peg on there. So I don't know. Trying to think of when this would be useful, and I'm sure there's 100 ways to use this that I can't think of off the top of my head. So obviously not if you're you know, I don't know, if maybe if you have like a, you know, a little cabochon, thin cabochon, like maybe an amylite or something, and you, oh, that's a good idea. You have a cute little, you know, 8mm amylite button. You can drill a little hole straight in the back of that and glue that onto there with a little more security than you would if you were just gluing it onto a regular flat pad. I like that. I'm going with it. Here's the bigger version of this, right? Again, nice big flat pad with a cup and peg. Although it's not a cup, it's a pad and peg. And we'll just make up names as we go. ES 164 with a retail price of $2.03 a pair and a wholesale price of $1.26 a pair. And the last thing, I know normally the last thing I have is kind of this crazy, wild, spectacular thing. But this week, this is our crazy, wild, spectacular thing. The very last product I'm going to show you today. EW709 with a retail price of $4.06 and a wholesale price of $2.70 a pair. Now these are awesome because you can, it's just an ear wire, right? Obviously, with a cup and peg, you know, dangling out the bottom that you can glue, you know, a pearl onto there. And the pad off the top of my head, that looks like, I don't know, like a 4mm pad, but it's pretty shallow, so I bet you could glue, and there's a lot of surface area there to work with, so you could probably glue something up to about a 10 or 12mm pearl off the bottom of that. And you know, how awesome would that be, right? Just to have a very simple ear wire dangling with a great big pearl hanging off the bottom. I love it. And that is, I can move this around. Oh. So that's it, and I'm like, I'm 2 minutes early. It's because we started on time. That's why. Normally I would be late by now, because I start late. You know, we start a few minutes late. Next week, I've got a few more earring-ish things to go over, and some of them are really cool. There's one that is the kind of like a version of this, but not really. The only thing that's the same really is the part where you glue the pearl to the bottom. But so the rest of it is a spider with like cubic zirconias. All of it. It's definitely going to be the last thing that I show you next week. So you could just, I guess, wait with anticipation. Why? Not even I am waiting with anticipation, so why would you? I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, that's it. That's our earrings for this week. Come back next week, Wednesday morning. Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, and extrapolate it out to wherever you are, because if you're like on the East Coast, it's already afternoon. Or if you're in Europe, it's, you know, evening-ish. So wherever you are. About an hour ago would be the time to join us. Maybe you're just hanging around Facebook. and you see that little thing, hey, SilviaFindings is doing a live stream. Why not? Click on it, see what happens. It's always fun. I always have fun doing these things. And shows are starting up again. So I think there's one coming up locally, maybe end of, no, beginning of August? No. When is that Kitsilano show maybe happening?
First weekend of August.
Yeah, first weekend of August. We still don't know for sure. We don't have contracts yet from the show promoter. I think they're waiting on direction from the city whether or not these kind of things will be allowed or not. I personally, I got my second shot yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So I'm ready. I'll still be wearing masks even though I'm in public, because I'm in public in a closed place with people. Who knows? Just get the vaccination. Come on, how hard is it? It's science. Anyway, I'm not going there. We will see you next week, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. But in the meantime, keep making stuff, keep those creative juices flowing. Take care of yourself, take care of the planet. Because as we established at the beginning of today's live stream, we're toast anyway. So do your best to take care of the planet. Maybe we'll figure out something that doesn't end up with us on a planet that's uninhabitable like Mars or whatever. But I'm not optimistic. How's that? Take care of yourself, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and we will see you next week. All right. Bye-bye. I can turn this off. I can do it.